Hey everybody, it's Michael. I'm going to show you step by step how to use a fogger on your hives for varroa mite treatment. We're just going to go from the very start in case nobody's, if you've never done this before or not sure how to do it. We're in my backyard. I've got 3 hives and a nuke back here. I'm going to go ahead and fog. And what you're going to do first, your fogger, just any kind of insect fogger you can use, just make sure that this is the only thing you use it for. Don't put any mosquito or any other kind of substance in it. I've got a bottle of mineral oil in here, just food grade. I got it from Walmart for like not even a couple of dollars for a bottle of it. Fill it up. You have a fuel here, a valve here. Take any kind of a lighter. I just happen to have a torch for my smoker out here. Light it. Lighter, stick lighter, anything works just fine. Doesn't sound like it would, did it? Oh yeah, it's lit. You see the heat coming off of it? Okay, you need to let this get really hot. If you try to use it when it's just not quite hot enough, you'll shoot hot mineral oil out and kill all your bees. So this is usually, I take my time to put my gloves and everything on right now while I'm waiting for it to heat up. If you already used it, you'll have a little bit of oil dribble on out of it. It's the first time using it ever, nothing will happen. That's just residual that I have left over from the last time I did it. And it's nasty stuff, just smoke-wise, it hangs around. Your neighbors might think your house is on fire, so if you live real close to somebody, you might let them know. There's no need to call the fire department, it's just you. Like I said, if you've got all this out before you shut it down, I won't do this, but I shut mine off while it was still fogging, so I have some left over in the tube. So what happens, it draws your oil up, runs it through a tube, and through basically a corkscrew, and the heat runs through and atomizes it. Let me get on the side of it. So what you're going to do is you're going to go up to your hive, you're going to point it into the entrance, and depending on how small or big your hive is, they say 30 seconds or so. Basically do it until you see fumes, the smoke coming out of the top of your hive. So if you have a top entrance or top vent, you can just shoot it in until you start seeing it come out. If your top's completely closed, you need to crack the lid open before you do this so you can see it coming out, and that way you'll also create a draft to help it lift up. If you have screen bottom boards, a bunch of it's going to come out the bottom too. You can actually shoot it from underneath the screen straight up into your hive if you want, but it's not necessary. So let me show you how it's done. If you have one of these, there's a little, I don't know how you can see the camera, there's a little safety switch. Push one way, it'll keep you from being able to pump through. Okay, that way's got it locked. And what you do to get a continuous flow on this, you don't sit here and you don't pump it continuously, it'll get too cool and you'll pump oil out. You want to give it a good squeeze every 4 or 5 seconds, and that'll keep a nice continual atomized smoke coming out of it without any liquid shooting out. So you might practice this a little bit before you take up your hive, before you blow out a bunch of bees. And I'll show you now before I get to the hive. So one little pump, we'll get it started. Give it 3 or 4 pumps to start. May take a few more depending on how long you let it sit and get hot. Once it gets going, count to 4 or 5 and give it a pump. And a pump. Just kind of continuously give it a pump. If you sit there and just pump non-stop, you're going to shoot hot oil out. And when you're ready to stop, unlike I did earlier, just lock it so you can't pull the trigger anymore. And just let it sit and burn the rest of the oil off. That way you don't have it blowing out when you start up. If you forget like I did earlier, it's not going to hurt anything. It just kind of gets in your way. So it'll burn for a little while. So what we're going to do, I've got a larger hive here. I've got a small entrance down there at the very bottom, and then the full top entrance. And then I have a hive that's fairly well small. It's just got a top vent underneath. You can't see it very well, but there's no top entrance. So we're going to do the little one first. Since there are vents in it, I don't have to open the lid up, and I can wait for the smoke to come out through the top vent, but I pretty well know I've done them enough out here, kind of how long to do it for. So there's, what you can do is you can shoot right through the front entrance, just 8 to 12 inches back, just to make sure you get aimed in. You can get a little closer if you need to, but you don't want to have it right stuck in the entrance, okay? And give it a few pumps and get going. Back at a distance when you're doing this. And as you really get it to start going, move on in and point it at the entrance. Give it a pump. Give it a pump again. Kind of keep a nice continual flow. In a hive that size, that's all it needs. And you'll see it looks like it's on fire, but it's fine. The bees aren't hurt. Now this one where I have the bottom blocked off, this is another reason I leave my feeders on year round. Whew. Even though I don't use them. When I'm fogging, it gives me a place to open up and stick my fogger down into each side. Put the jar back after I can see. Go ahead and shoot some on the other side. Try to get an even coat. I'm waiting for the smoke to start coming out of the top entrance. And it has. Depending which way the wind's blowing, you need to pay attention to that. But see how up here at the top it's starting to come out? And I'll even take a little extra while I'm waiting for it to burn off, and I'll blow in the top. I'm not pumping here, I'm just letting it blow in just what little remainder I had in the tube. You can still see it coming out now from where I did it. So as long as it's coming through the top and coming out, it's all the way through the hive. I tend to do this early in the morning or late at night so I can get the most amount of bees hit, because this is just treating the mites that are on the bees. This isn't doing anything about the bees that are actually, in the brood. So what we'd have to do, you pick a day, I usually pick Sundays. You do it on your first day, and then you do it 2 more times, 7 days apart. So I've done them today, next Sunday, and the Sunday thereafter. That way, the Varroa's brood cycle is on a 3-week schedule. So if I start today, whatever brood is hatching in 7 more days, I'll hit it, and 7 more days after that, and I'll cover an entire brood cycle, Varroa mite cycle in the brood cycle, of them getting in and hatching and coming out and getting hit again. I usually only do this a few times a year. This is the first time of year I do it, generally somewhere after the 4th of July. This one has a top entrance, you can see all the bees. This time of year, once my boxes get about 4 high, I start putting top entrances on them. See, this one's closed off at the bottom as well. So I'll shoot through the feeder jar opening, and then I'll come back and I'll hit it in the top as well. A few pumps, get some fumes going here. I'm probably getting low on oil. There we go. Like I was saying earlier, you want to go to the back of your bottom screens, your screen bottoms, just come underneath here. If you got the room to get an angle, which on this one I don't, but you could stick it underneath and angle up. Ones that have taller blocks, I can. I've done it that way before. And I'll just go ahead and hit the top entrance a little bit as well. It's not going to hurt anything. Make sure the top gets a nice hit on it. It's just smoke, and I'm back far enough. I'm not killing any bees. Now, if I started pumping it real fast, I would definitely kill a lot of them. And I've done that by accident first few times I tried it. And on a nuke, I'll even do a nuke, but I just barely hit it. Take my jar out. I'm not even pumping, I'm just using the residual. Little in the entrance. Generally, I'll put it through the top. And I have screen bottoms in the bottom of my nukes as well, but you can see the bees running out from the smoke I put into it. These you have to get a little closer. If it gets a little thinned out, start it out here to make sure you're not going to blow any liquid in. And just kind of aim it into your openings. That's good enough. go ahead and lock your trigger so you can't hit it by accident. And just let it sit here and finish burning off as you walk back. You see, it'll keep going for a while. I can show you on this one. See how this is a screen bottom, but it's up higher where I can get to it? If I wanted to, I could pump. Then I could stick it right underneath here like this, and I could fog that same way, just like that. So it just depends on how your hives are set up, how high they are, how your entrances are done. You just do it however you want. If you let this sit for a little bit, it'll burn off. The smoke will start to turn kind of a brownish color where it's burning. But once you get the majority of it out, just kill your knob here for your fuel. That stays hot for a while, so go sit it out somewhere where it's not going to be a problem. You're not going to touch it. See where a bee landed on it and got fried. Let's see if these bees, it disrupts them a little bit, but it's definitely didn't kill any bees. It didn't hurt them. And that's all there is to it. Do it 2 more Sundays in a row. Right about when the goldenrod flow starts, I'll usually do mine 1 more time. And that's it for the year. That's really all I do anymore to control Varroa. Just gives them a nice little knockdown. Other than doing brood breaks. I break the brood cycles of the queen herself by swarming her. But other than that, that's it.